Hey friends, going to talk tonight a little bit about needs and neediness. I'll give people a few minutes to gather. I'll give myself a few minutes to gather. I've been running around a little bit much in the last, I guess full day. Hey Georgiana, I knew you would make it. And I wrote a post today. Excuse me, I'm just setting up my chair so I'm comfortable. I wrote a post today about neediness. Hey, Clint, I think I put on. Hey, Mary, I think I put up a post that said neediness is always a matter of shamed needs. Hey, Navia, good that you made it. Hey, Omi, good to see you. Nice that you're here. Yeah, you're catching me live, Navia. Great. Hey, Kim, that's cool to see you. I don't know that I've seen you on the live feeds before. It's really cool. Anyway, there was so much response. And hey, Mary. And that it made me want to say more because I realized, hey, Carolyn, that I have so much in me. In fact, too much to say. I always think, make a 6 or 7 minute tape. Hey, Alexandra, I've given that up. Make a 10-minute tape. I've given that up. So I guess I'm going to give more, and then fewer people may want to hear a longer thing. But what can you do? That's if life wants to be long, then you can catch as much as you catch. Hey, Catherine. So let me begin then. So a couple of days ago, I was writing back and forth to a person who wants to do a podcast with me. It was a woman, and she pitches, gives her podcast, her radio show for women to listen to. And we were having a chat back and forth about hunger. I was talking about diets and weight loss and hungers and needs. And she said, are you talking about the needs that are like real needs behind our hungers for food? Like underneath my hunger for potato chips is something else? Or are you talking about neediness? Hey, Pei Fang. And Laurel, nice to see you. And I thought, wow, that word neediness, it just made my whatever, skin crawl, something erupted in me. I didn't really get a chance to say as much about it in that moment, but I wanted to, and I thought I have to talk about this a little bit because in all my years of doing therapy, 20 plus years now, I wrote today, I've never, and it's really true, ever seen a person who said, I'm too needy, I need to work on my neediness. I've never seen a person tell me that where I didn't find two things, an underlying need that was really legitimate, that was not getting met, and a kind of shame suppression of that. Hey, Avilia, suppression is not enough because it's always a shame. A shame meaning I look at it now, I've learned to look at my needs in a way that makes me feel bad about myself, makes me think going to therapy is something I need to do to get rid of my neediness. And if there's a genuine need behind that quote-unquote neediness, then we know that helping a person get over their neediness means that they're going to become less conscious of their need, and the need will have to do something different. Okay, why is this so difficult? Why is that topic and the issue of needs and neediness difficult? Well, there's lots of different reasons. Hey, Loretta and Laurel, let me say something about it. When you have a need and it is shamed, put down in some way, then it suppresses that need. So here's a need. Hey, Pamela, it's coming up, moving up like that. You do it like this. There's a need's coming up, and then something suppresses that need. And then a couple of things happen with that need. Say, here's the need and here's the suppressor. Why are you so needy? Or whatever it is, or you're bothering me, or I'm resenting you, I don't have time for you. Whatever the message was that you ended up feeling like I shouldn't have this particular impulse. There's the need, there it comes like that. So what happens in that? A couple of things happen. One is it pushes it down, but the need is strong. So imagine this green force, the need force gaining strength, and the suppressive force gaining strength. And what happens in there is a buildup of energy. So it gets rather strong in there. I'm going to hurt my hand. I'm going to dig in. I'm going to push, because needs are pretty fundamental. They don't just go away. Even when we become unconscious about them, they don't go away. Needs live. If they're genuine, legitimate needs, and I'm talking about those, I don't know what other kind of needs they would be. They build up. They have a strength to them. They want to get met. Think of like a hunger, and then something suppressing them. So one thing happens is they amplify the strength in this meeting place. Imagine a hunger. Hey, Andrea, then the hunger gets bigger and bigger, and the more I don't let you eat, the more that hunger gets bigger, and the more the suppression is needed. And now there's a lot of power between these two. And if that need erupts, what happens? It slips out, it comes out, and it comes out rather strong, depending on how much suppression there's been on that. Not because the need is funky or the person is needy, but because the interaction with the suppression of the need makes the need come out rather strong, much more strongly than the initial need. So then people say, that doesn't look so good. Why are you acting so strong, so fierce, so determined, so whatever it's going to be? Why am I going to shame you more? Because what I'm looking at, hey, Cully, is something that's escaped, that's broken through. It's broken through something. So that one difficulty, hey Joyce, is that breaking through problem, suppression. The next thing that happens is the need is smart. Needs have access to the psyche and the unconscious. So if I need something and I can't get it met, I think I'm going to twist and turn and figure out how to meet it in some other way. Then it looks rather funky, because rather than reach for saying, hey, I need your warmth or kindness, or I need you to listen to me, now I'm doing other things. I'm talking out loud. I'm talking too much. I'm not listening to you. I'm doing other things that don't look so good, because I need is trying to get met, but my system now has internalized that shame. This whole thing gets really weird, and now it doesn't look quite clean. It doesn't look quite direct. So the difficulty I'm trying to point out here is that two things happen. The suppression ends up amplifying it, so the need comes out stronger, and then the suppression and shame ends up twisting the need, so it starts looking strange. It doesn't look like its initial need. Why is that so difficult internally? Now I'm talking about personal growth, personal psychology. Because then I look at myself, I'm unconscious of my need, right? Hey, Catherine, because I'm against it. And then what happens? Then the need comes out all of a sudden, woof! It comes out with a big strength and all these strange directions. And I think, oh gosh, I'm such a weirdo. Why am I like this? That person didn't deserve that. Why am I acting this way? I'm way out of control. Something is really off. Hey, thanks for the sound effect comment, Catherine. So something is really off. So I start thinking badly about myself. So now what happens, because the need was originally shamed and suppressed and it comes out in a strange way, my own internal system sees something that looks not so good, because it's twisted and suppressed and amplified, and now I become more against myself. I become somewhat self-hating. I internalize and strengthen the self-hatred, so that thing grows. So now my attitude towards myself grows more and more negative, more hostile, more unfriendly. So that happens inside. Okay. Another thing that happens is, so anyway, let me back off on that and say that I call a self-fulfilling prophecy. Meaning I think I shouldn't be needy, so I'm going to try not to be needy. Then my needy comes out in a funky way. Then I say, look at myself. I'm coming out in all these weird ways. What's wrong with me? So I think it's wrong. Then I look at it and it looks wrong, and it affirms my idea originally that it was wrong. It keeps cycling on itself like a snake in its tail, and I keep feeding on the sense that something is wrong with me. That shame builds. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I knew it was wrong. I shouldn't have done it. Then it comes out weird because I'm holding myself back. Then I kind of go, oh my gosh, look at how terrible I am. I sort of affirm my own self-belief. Okay, one more thing about internal issues, inner psychology, inner work, personal growth. Needs that are suppressed and shamed can and often do somatize. What does that mean? That means that my body then becomes the intelligence around that need and suppression, and it expresses itself somatically in physical pains, sufferings, tensions, difficulties, physical symptoms. And sometimes I wrote today to Carolyn, you may remember, I said, think of the example. Let me give an example. Let's imagine there's a young child, and that child needs, let's say it's me, I'm 4 or 5 years old, I reach out to my daddy. Daddy, I need your affirmation, your love, your mirroring. A genuine need comes out. Now, let's say my father is grumpy. Let's say my father's grumpy a lot. So when I reach out to my father, I get a mood, I get resentment, I get not being listened to, I get something that comes back at me that's unfriendly. And then I'm a youngster, so imagine I'm thinking about a young person, not because it always happens this way, although it can be the etiology of the problem and a symptom. But I'm thinking of it because I want you to think of the need in a pure way. That the child doesn't have a need that's funky. It's just arising, and then maybe it looks a little bit funky, so to speak, because it's been suppressed. So there's that child reaching out, Daddy, Daddy, I need something from you. Look at my artwork, appreciate my poem, give me a hug, dry my tears, tell me I'm loved. Whatever that need is, I'm reaching out for that, and then something comes back unfriendly. So now I code, if that's a regular thing, hey Marianne, that the need that comes up, here's the need again in green, the need that comes up gets met with something unfriendly. So inside, I then expect a kind of a punishment. I'm not against the father, whatever the father's reasons are, maybe they work too hard, whatever it is, but forget about that for the moment. Maybe there's an abuse scene, forget about that a moment. Just track the purity of the need, meeting something that feels punishing. And now I have internalized this need, but the need's no good. The need, and the need's no good. The need, and the need's no good. I'm making a circle because that spins. It becomes circular. So my need wants to come out, but it can't and comes back in and out, and it stays locked in a kind of circular pattern. That means inside my mind later in life, I'm going to cycle. Should I ask for this? Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe and I'll spend all night long thinking, should I say it? Should I not say it? Should I say it? Should I not say it? Hey, Christina, that's what I call cycling. That's what happens with the need. It cycles. It has an impulse and then it gets rejected. It has an impulse and gets rejected. Now that tension, that has a lot of energy to it, that cycling. And that energy can be somatized if it's in my core. I could feel it in the core of my being, a tension, a tightness all the way through. Maybe I even get tight in the lungs. Maybe I get tight in the chest. Maybe I feel asthmatic and pressure. People can get that from those kind of things. Maybe I feel tight in my shoulders because there's tension. Maybe I have an impulse to come up and hold something down. So food is being held down. That makes indigestion. That makes nausea. I want to throw up. That need wants to come up. I shouldn't throw up. I should hold that down. So I'm just giving you one sense. Cramping is a really big thing that happens here. People get cramps. What's a cramp? It's a big energy that's tight. So that's not all cramps are like that, but some cramping happens like that, whether that the cramping is in the arms and the legs and the belly and the uterus, etc. Again, there's many other reasons for cramping. I just want to give you the sense that things can become somatic. So sometimes a client can come to me complaining of something physical, and we can untie that thing, and we can find the need that's been punished, and now become self-punished. It's a really deep thing. Okay, and move on to other things. I want to talk about relationship now. Needs in relationship and how that gets funky. Now, if I have a need and I'm not friendly with it, maybe it doesn't look so good because it's been suppressed, so I'm unfriendly with that particular need, then what happens in relationship? Then I think I bring out the need. It doesn't look pure, doesn't look totally clean. I think it's not so good, and then I feel guilty. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do that? That was bad for me to do. So now my need is coming out a little bit funky and a little bit guilty inside, and the person on the other side is getting a strange message. They're getting a need, but I feel bad. Can I ask? Oh, I shouldn't ask. A person's getting a whole complex of mess from me because I'm not okay with my own need, and they're going to get confused. They're going to react to my expression of that need in a way that's not direct, in part because my need didn't come out direct. Or I may bring out my need subtly. Hey, how you doing today? Are you doing well? Gosh, I hope you're okay. I'm modeling someone who's very concerned with the other person, but I'm needing some warmth. But I'm not allowed to have the need for that particular warmth. So then I ask you these things and you kind of go, yeah, why you keep asking me? Why you keep asking me? And then I think, why aren't they meeting my need? I become resentful. So in relationship, now I have a resentment for that person. Maybe that person's lousy at meeting my needs, maybe not. But I become resentful of that person. That person feels my resentment, and they react to my resentment. So a guilt gets wrapped in, a resentment gets wrapped in, and then people react to that indirect message, and they start saying, oh, I don't really like being around you. You're kind of weird. You're hostile. You're too needy. You're bothering me. Why do you always bothering me? Why are you always needy? And what the person is feeling as needy is my needs coming out in strange indirect ways that leads them to react in strange ways. And we get, like that self-fulfilling prophecy, we get a setup. I don't bring myself out all the way. So I say, dear sweetheart, I need a hug. So and then she can say yes or no. If I love my need, the no is not going to feel great, but it's going to be okay. But if my need is not okay with me, then that won't be honest. She may not know exactly what I need. Then the resentment, I start resenting her, she's not meeting my need, and that whole thing gets complicated, and the relationship starts spinning like I did internally. Now the relationship goes around and around. That person doesn't like the way my needs come out. I think, again, something's wrong with me. Suppression further of that particular need. Okay. Then the person comes to therapy, just like at the beginning, and says, why am I so needy? It's screwing up my relationships. And then I have to say, I don't know, let's forget about the relationship. Let's talk about the need that's inside of you, how strong it is, what it's like, and have to help them get in touch with the original core of that need so that that's befriended. If we try to get rid of the neediness before that need is loved and understood and cared for, problem. Okay, two more things I want to talk about. So I talked about the inner dynamic. I talked about a relationship dynamic. And now I want to talk about sexism. What does this problem have to do with sexism? So much. I'm going to mention three things. Many women here could educate me about many more of the dynamics. Let me give you the three that I'm thinking of. One, power. Now I'm going to be a woman person for a moment. As a woman, I have a need to have my power, express my power, love my power, have it live. That's a basic need. I'm not talking about power to abuse people. I'm talking about the power that's in me, that should show, that should be expressed. Now, if that need is not going to be accepted in a culture, then we have sexism interacting with my need to express and show and love and celebrate my power, just like it should be celebrated in a man and other people. Wow, look at that great person. They're coming out. They can speak. They have a big voice. They can make changes. They're leaders. Why not do that? Well, women also have their power put down. You all know that you're a B. You're too much. I don't even want to get into the political problems around that, but you all can think of that. It's a major issue around women bringing out their power, the need to express the power, put down. What happens when that power, when it's suppressed? Messy things, power struggles, eruptions of power that don't only look good and then problematic. Many women who have suffered under a patriarchal pressure around bringing out their power and have coped with that, then some people, men and women, look at that woman and say, I don't like the way she uses her power. But what we're seeing is not just the use of her power, we're seeing the uses of her power met by a culture of sexist oppression, suppression, and shame with that power working its way out. We're seeing that particular mess. Another sexist aspect of needs, the need to take up space. This is a huge issue. Again, many of you women can talk a lot about the need to take up space, the need to fill up space, to be here. I'm making my hands go like this, like I'm being round. Some women eat and make a bigger body because their bodies get bigger, they take up more space. That's not a conscious thing, but I've worked with many women who say, I don't like my body, it's too big, it's too round, and I ask them to go into the expression of that, and what do I find? I find a body that takes up space, takes up a lot more room with my voice, my intentions, my personality, all those kinds of things. Another thing, be small or be little or keep yourself in a smaller space, maybe relative to men or patriarchal culture, etc. The need to take up space. And certainly the need to be heard, a really big thing. Because if I've been trained to hear, to be a good listener, then what happens to my need to be also heard, witnessed, affirmed, mirrored, understood, all those kind of things, then that need to be heard goes down. Then that's really difficult. I work with a woman, I may have mentioned this story before, who would then drink a little bit at parties. Then she would talk a lot, take up more space and bring out her ideas and her intelligence and taking up more space. And then afterwards say, oh, I did too much, I spoke too much, did I do too much? This is such a common thing. I did too much. The most common words, this was a research study, that women use in conversation. Again, I can't say that I've studied it, but I've read the research on it. It's pretty good research. The most common words women use in discussion is, I don't know. So a woman who says, let me tell you something, David. This is what I think about the sexism and the needs, and da-da-da. And she'll say, yeah, well, I don't know. I'm exaggerating it or something, but I'm trying to give you the feel for that. Where does the I don't know come from? It says, that need to express my intelligence, show something, is met with an internalized sexist atmosphere that says, ooh, you really don't know, don't act too smart. And it comes out of me right away. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Like, why did I say I don't know? I just said something brilliant, right? Why should I say I don't know when I have some knowledge to offer? Sexism meeting the need to bring out our intelligence. Hey, Jill. Neshamalar, am I getting it right? Okay. Last topic, racism. Now we're talking about needs. We could have been talking about this in sexism, but I want to talk about the needs of a group. The needs of a group to be seen as human, to be protected, to be safe, to be cared for, to be respected in some way, right? Those kinds, to not be harmed. This doesn't only have to do with racism, but I want to focus on that. It's not talking about the needs of a particular person or a person internally or in a relationship. I'm talking about the needs in the world. So that need for the sense of protection, righteousness, integrity, proper treatment, protection, all those kind of needs then emerge. The needs are not met. If they're not met, guess what happens? They come out and I smash a window. They come out and I'm silent and then pushy. I come out and then I'm grumpy and aggressive. And people say, why are you aggressive? You have anger problems. The need comes out, just like I said at the beginning, in not only the perfect, most beautiful looking way, and then we see the needs of a group come out. That doesn't mean every single individual who's a person of color, but in general, we'll see that, and then it's going to look down upon. Okay, to make that point, and to wrap up, I want to read you a poem by Langston Hughes. It's a poem called Harlem. Some of you may know the poem, and it's about a dream deferred, but I think that's a deep need in that dream. The need to dream, the need to have a dream of a democracy, and a certain kind of treatment, and to be brought in to the feeling of I'm human and beautiful and intelligent and spiritually worthy of being here. That's what the poem Harlem is talking about. I'm not remembering when it was written. I'm sorry about that. I want to say 50s, but I could be wrong. Okay, check out Langston Hughes. He says, what happens to a dream deferred? To a need that's gone too long, we could say. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? What happens to a dream deferred, a need deferred of a group of people or yourself personally? Does it dry up? The need is just dried up. I don't know. I'm depressed. Nothing's in me. Or does it fester like a sore? Does it become icky and toxic to be around me with this need that's been deferred? Or does it stink? Is it like, ooh, boy, who wants to be with that person? Or does it crust and sugar over? Syrupy sweet. No, I don't need anything. Everything's fine. Don't worry about me. I don't need anything. You're beautiful. I'm exaggerating. I'm sorry about the sarcasm. I'm trying to give you a sense of the syrupy sweetness that could show up with a need deferred. Or does it sag? Life is fine. Don't worry. Yeah. Can't have a lot of what you need in life. Does it sag? Does your deferred need become a depression? It certainly can. Or does it explode every so often and go, rah, that's it. I can't take it anymore. Everybody now is going to listen to me. I'm a terrorist. I'm going to drop a bomb right in the middle of your city, right in the middle of the family dinner table, right in the middle of your Facebook post. It's gone way too long. Phew. That was more than I thought and less than I thought and as much as needed to happen. I guess there's a need for me to say something. Hopefully that need touches something in you. Lots of love to you, friends. 2 quick things, please. If the video moves you, share it. It's great for the words to get out, and I try to do these. It's one of the things I do that I don't get paid for. Many things I don't get paid for. Some people pay me bunches of money to do therapy and speak, and some people don't pay me anything because they can't afford it or whatever the reason. So this is one way to try to reach other people with what I have to offer in ways that don't require people to give me money. So giving the sharing is good for me, and it's good for other people. And then I'm doing a webinar on Wednesday night on body image and dieting, weight loss, and shame. So check that out. If you go to my timeline, you'll see things about that. That's also free. And I'll talk about my research on that issue and what that has to do with the same stuff, the deferred needs and hungers and things like that. Lots of love. Have a great weekend, friends. Bye-bye.